Welcome back to another episode of Debates with Mates, guys. Today we're here with Scotty from the Six Pack Revolution. So just tell us a bit about the Six Pack Revolution then, Scotty, and how it was founded and came to be.
Okay, so in December 2015, I was in the playground picking up the kids from school on a rare occasion because my wife usually did all of that. And I was looking at all the parents and noticed that they were very overweight, poisoned looking is probably a good description, knees buckling, some couldn't even walk properly, they were so big. My wife hates when I talk about this bit. And I was thinking to myself when the kids ran out to their role models that that doesn't look very good, does it? And then I realized I was one of them. So I decided that the January New Year's resolution, I was going to get a six-pack, and I was going to get it in 90 days, because back then that was the time that people put towards doing something, either 12 weeks, 3 months, or 90 days. And I just decided to blog it on Facebook. It was called the Scott Too Hot 90-Day Six-Pack Challenge back then. And I had 36 people join me, and I told them I wasn't messing around. If they're going to join me, they do it properly. And I basically ran the show. And the results we got at the end, I managed to get 19 people to the end. Bear in mind, back then there was no meals, recipes, nothing. We were just winging it and just eating very bland. And the results, people couldn't believe what had happened. A lot of people were begging me to do another one. That one finished in April. So I did another one in September, and I had 120 join that one. And again, when we finished that one, the results were unbelievable. And I realized I had a flair for keeping people engaged for a long time and motivating them and pushing them. And I was really enjoying doing it. So then I realized maybe I've got something here that I can help change the world, do a job that I love doing, and so on and so on. So I surrounded myself with all the right people. My wife's a nutritionist who specializes in the application to physical activity. I've got a GP on my team, a doctor of chiropractic who's got the highest qualification of chiropractic doctor you can get in the world. I've got a doctor of biochemistry, a psychologist, and a psychotherapist. So a world-class team. I've also got an amazing team of coaches that help me. We've got about 180 coaches that help me. Cut a very long story short, we now have participants in 77 countries, and we change tens of thousands of lives all over the world every year. And I also brought out my own range of meal replacement shakes, protein bars, and equipment and stuff like that. And the Six Pack Revolution was born. I've had many celebrities do my program: Rylan Clark, Sara Cox, Carol Vorderman, Alex Scott, half the cast of the Line of Duty, Emma Kennedy, Denise Van Outen. I could go on and on. There's quite a few, which has been great because that's given me a lot of exposure as well, which has allowed me to reach more and more people and help more people. And it's a life-changing program. You know, when it comes to like chronic illness, like ME, MS, fibromyalgia, eczema, psoriasis, Crohn's, IBS, blood pressure, cholesterol, Hashimoto's, Guillain-Barré syndrome, scoliosis, sleep apnea. I could, again, go on for hours. We bring those conditions into a much more manageable level or into complete remission. So not only the visual and the health side in the way of just losing fat and building muscle and feeling great and losing your anxiety and sleeping better and all that, but also actual illnesses. Even like lipedema that people say can't be cured. We've had ladies on our program. Lipedema, by the way, is where the big fat deposits on the legs. Well, you can have it on other parts of the body, but usually it comes onto legs. They're told there's no help. It's just you've got to live with it. Well, that's not true. We've shrunk many. So yeah, and I think that's why it's grown so fast across the world, because once someone sees someone else who's done it, and sees not only the visual change, which is like, how on earth did that happen, but the way their eyes are glistening, the happiness that they feel radiating off of them, and also just the health they can see just the vitality in the person, people say, I need a piece of that. And I know I might be biased, but everyone should try the six-pack revolution once, because what the six-pack revolution does is gives you the key to happiness. Whether you use it all the time or not, that's down to you. And I'm sure there's many people that have gone backwards as well. We can't save everyone, I'm sure. But at the end of the program, I teach everyone how to keep their results, still party twice a week. And for me, that was my goal, was to find a way to rewire the body and the mind so that it's a machine that burns at its optimum. When it works at its optimum. When it works at its optimum, it burns fuel efficiently, which is fat. Builds and maintains muscle mass. Your hair, your skin, the whites of your eyes, your teeth, your nails all become more radiant. As I said, the illnesses, the anxiety disappearing, and all those things where people truly live instead of just exist. But still party twice a week. That was, like, in my eyes, the best of both worlds, like that utopia moment.
Well, that's the most ideal for people, isn't it? Because most people, when they go on diets and stuff like that, it's too intense for them, isn't it? So they're thinking, oh, 7 days a week is the way I've got to be. And it just becomes a chore rather than an actual...
7 days a week.
Yeah.
It is 7 days a week for that short time of 75 days, because the program's 75 days now. You've got to invest that time in yourself to change how your body and mind works. Change your relationship with food, with drink, and with yourself. So that when you come off the program, you have your power back. Because at the moment, many of you will understand, and everyone watching this, is that you almost feel sometimes like you don't decide when the chocolate goes in, the chocolate decides. You've got no control over it. You've got no strength. And it isn't because you're, after the program, it's not that you're saying no to everything. You just don't want it as much as you did before. Because it's 7 days a week for that time. So we kind of get you off the drugs. And what I mean by drugs is the fat, the salt, the sugar, the caffeine, the alcohol, so that you're not so addicted to it. And therefore, if you have a couple of biscuits, you don't need the whole pack anymore. You're satisfied. If you're satisfied, that's a powerful place to be, because you're actually not stopping yourself. You don't want it. And because your body's now a much more healthier machine that works better, after a couple of biscuits, you kind of feel a bit sick.
Yeah.
You know that feeling at the end of a pack of biscuits? That feeling at the end of a pack of biscuits you get after maybe two.
Yeah, well, what have you felt?
That is honestly very true. I haven't been doing the 5 days, 2 days, but I have been doing 80-20, which I felt like was similar. So in my day, I tried to eat 80% healthy, and if I have 20% of my day that's not so healthy, then I don't feel as bad. And by that, I mean, like, I'll have, I don't know, maybe like 1 bar of chocolate or a packet of crisps. But even like today, I bought some chocolate buttons, and I was eating them at work, and I just started feeling sick. I was just like, somebody take these off me, because they're here, and I'm working on the computer, and I'll just pick one, but my body don't want it anymore. It's rejecting it because I'm not used to doing that anymore. So it is a rare occasion. Even like the other day, it was a hot day. I had a Magnum, a small one, one of them 6 ones in the packet, and I couldn't finish it all. I had to give it to my mum. I was like, I can't, I don't want it anymore. It's like it just says no. I've had enough, and it's so much better, because before.
I'll tell you why the 80-20 doesn't work as well as the 5-2.
Yeah.
Because depending on your day, you may still be tipping over the calories every day. Yeah. Because if you've healthy all day, that naughty thing is not in abundance. It's a one thing maybe, or 2 things, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you get your 5 days in, you've nailed it for 5 days. We know you haven't gone over your calories. We know you've had the right things. We know you've in balance. You haven't tipped the balance. You haven't. What I give the analogy of a bullseye, a target on a wall. Yeah. Imagine there's an outer ring, an inner ring, and a bullseye. Day 1 to 2, I'm trying to get you into the outer ring. 3 to 4, the inner ring, and 5 to 6, the bullseye. Now that bullseye is that 6-pack revolution, fat burning, muscle building, hair shining, skin clearing, anxiety disappearing, superhero zone. And then we try and keep you there for the next 69 days by motivating, pushing, pulling, exciting, keeping you going, being there for you, supporting. The minute you have a Magnum, you're out of the target. Day or 2 to get you in the outer ring, day or 3 to get you in the inner ring, 5 or 6 to get you into the bullseye. But you keep doing that every day. If you keep doing that every day, you're never in it. Right? So if you have 5 days and then you can do whatever you like for those 2 days. That's what I tell everyone. That's the 2 days you can party. You're very unlikely to have a McDonald's for breakfast, a Kentucky Fried Chicken for lunch, and a Pizza Hut for dinner with some chocolate in between and a chocolate. You're just not going to do that because you would feel like awful.
Yeah.
So you might go out for the night and have a curry with the girls and a couple of drinks or with the boys. But you're not gonna you just feel sick if you tried to do that all day long.
You feel a little bit unwell anyway because you're already 5 days. You're doing such clean food that you'll have a little bit and you'll think, oh gosh, my body doesn't like this. So the reason why I was kind of thinking about the 80-20 was because obviously whilst you're on the 6-pack revolution, you make a lot of time for the 6-pack revolution to make sure you're prepping meals and everything else. But sometimes when you get back into the real life, unfortunately, time becomes a bit hectic. So if you don't have the prep, you will reach for something that's easy. And a lot of the times, a lot of your meals are easy, like the snacks and stuff like that, a little bit of yogurt and some, and some fruit, and you're good to go. But I guess, I don't know, humans aren't as wired to think, oh yeah, I need to make sure I prepare this. Whereas... But
yeah, can I ask, what would make you, how come you treat yourself at the end of the day? How come you don't wait for the weekend? What's the reason for that?
So it's not every day, and it's not the end of the day, because I try to do it in the middle of the day sometimes to make sure, because obviously the later you do it, the less, I guess, your body's working because you're more tired. Right. But I don't know, it's not even to treat yourself, it's there, it's in front of me, it's available. Somebody offers you a Snickers and you're thinking, whilst you're on a 6-pack revolution, I can't, I shouldn't, so you say no. But I guess that kind of mentality, I don't know whether it goes out the window, because a lot of people can still do it, but...
What do you think about you then, Jana, should I say?
What, about me?
Yeah.
The food aspect of my life has been the biggest struggle I've had throughout my life. Right. I was so worried about going on the 6-pack revolution that weeks before that I had dreams about breaking the rules, and I didn't once. I was probably the most strict because it was me, my partner, and my mum and dad tried to join us. They weren't on this thingy, but because we were already doing it, they tried to join us, and every single one of them said that I was the one that kept up to it. Because you kept saying not a blueberry out of place, so I took that fully literally, and I was like, it says that's 4 strawberries there, so I'm only having 4. But like my girlfriend would say, well, 1 strawberry out of place isn't going to hurt that. So I was the most strict, and I would say I smashed it, other than like a few mistakes here and there that I didn't mean to make by accident. It'll say like 1 scoop and you do 2 by accident or whatever. So other than that, and I'd even kick myself then. So I don't know what happened. It's like you say, it's the magic of the 6-pack revolution. And once I was free of the 6-pack revolution, for a while I was still massively strict. I was always thinking, how much protein does this have? How much sugar does this have? I need to make sure I don't eat this.
It is easy once you get used to it. So, like anything, practice makes perfect. But if it was like super easy, then we'd all be walking around looking like the front cover of a magazine, wouldn't we?
Yeah.
But once you get used to it, I look forward to Monday just as much as I do Saturday. Usually it's the weekend I keep my 2 days for, and that weekend I can do whatever I like. No, I don't exercise at the weekend. I train 6 times in the week. One day I do 2 workouts. I do weights and boxing on a Tuesday, and then the other days are boxing and weights, but only once a day. And then at the weekend I don't train at all. Give my body a rest. I eat and drink whatever I like. I can go wherever I want. I can get pissed as a fart if I want. It doesn't matter. And then usually when I've eaten and overindulged like that, I'm like, oh, I can't wait to feel normal again. And then I look forward to Monday, and by midday I feel great.
So it's having those 2 days which helps you look forward to it again, sort of thing. Yeah.
And it's just, well, once you get into the routine of it, which we've got tens of thousands of people all over the world that do, it becomes the norm. So a lot of people say to me, oh, when I go back to eating normally, I'm like, you have been eating normally for 75 days. Stuffing yourself silly with all this stuff is not, it's just become the norm because of society.
Yeah.
Was it you that mentioned that the reason why snacks have been created was because there was a reason behind it? Something like in America, builders needed quick boosts of energy or something. I don't remember exactly, but was that you?
No, it wasn't me. But
yeah.
if we go back to, millions of years or however many years that is, where you're back to, caveman and they would eat when they were hungry. So they would eat throughout the day, and it would usually be meat, plants, fruit, pulse, it would be, they wouldn't have this, oh, I eat breakfast and then wait several hours and then have something else. Or some people that don't even have breakfast, they would eat throughout the day to keep. Sorry, I'm full of analogies, me, but a lot of people would relate to analogies because they stay in your head.
Yeah.
So have you ever had a log burner? Or do you know what a log burner is?
Got one behind this. Behind this laptop.
Okay, so if we wanted that log burner to burn fuel efficiently all day, we wouldn't put the paper in, put the kindling in, put the logs on, let it fizzle out to nothing, into ash, then put the paper in, then put the kindling. All we have to do to keep that going all day long is every now and then put a log on, and it will burn forever. Yeah. So if you want your body, I know body doesn't actually burn food, it digests it, but the analogy people, the word they use is burn. We burn fat, or we burn this, or we burn. So let's stick with that for now. If you want your body to burn fuel efficiently all day, you got to keep chucking something on it.
Yeah.
Which is part of the thing where is it like eating 6 times a day, was it, or something?
6 times a day, 2 to 4 hours apart, isn't it? That's it.
Yeah, most people eat more on the 6-pack than they do currently now.
That's what I found at the start as well.
Yeah, when you were because when we were filming these podcasts and things, you'd come around with like 2 meals. Well, not 2 meals, but like a meal and a snack, all with all the like prepared. And I'd be like, before the podcast, you'd have like nothing.
Yeah.
I'd probably give you a cereal bar or something. So I was thinking, how does this work? But obviously, the like you just said.
How did you feel at the end of it, Jana?
I felt amazing. I was scared though. I'm not gonna lie. I was scared to not have that structure anymore because, well, I was worried I'd straight away put it all back on if I started eating how I'd eaten before. Even just introducing like rice and potatoes back into the diet, I was worried that those unhealthy carbs, well, they've got some health benefits, but obviously they are quite unhealthy carbs.
Quite dense.
They're not actually. We just choose on the program. We just choose healthier ones. So it's not that they're unhealthy, but we're just choosing. So, for example, sweet potatoes got much more nutritional value than a white potato. The actual carbohydrate content is the same, give or take. So your visual would have been very similar with the white potato. But the sweet potato has just got some more nutrition in it. So I try, and also I like to get people to try things that maybe they haven't tried before. And for example, quinoa, nothing wrong with rice, really. I mean, there's so many better grains than rice there. So quinoa, for example, has got half the carbohydrates of rice, but like much more proteins. It's more of a super grain. And it's very rice-like in its sort of look and texture. And I think it's got more flavour, but some people prefer rice, but rice isn't bad. White potato isn't bad. It's just that we chose some stuff that I think was just a little bit better. Yeah, if that makes sense. And I've got 75 days to get you a result that would take most people 2 years. So I make tweaks wherever I can. Doesn't mean certain things are bad. It just means we're going to give our tummies a rest from that just for 75 days, just to allow us to move forward a bit faster. That's all.
Yeah. So that's what I was worried about. Was just like a slice of bread here and there. Am I going to blow back up, and am I going to straight away?
How much did you lose in total again?
I think it was 16 kilograms. altogether. I know you say don't measure yourself in weight, but obviously I weighed myself before, and
You've
then I
done
did
dress
weigh
size
myself
before.
after.
How many dress sizes did you drop?
Not massively in dress sizes, but I did measure myself before and then after, because I do wear looser clothes, so it's difficult for me to measure in dress sizes. I measured myself before and after, and I think I lost about 10 to 15 centimeters, so quite a bit. And everybody could tell, right?
Yeah.
Like, everybody could tell that my face was a lot slimmer. I've got a shape of a pear as well, and I also have PCOS. So
Did you find your symptoms of your PCOS were less?
It was actually really strange. They were changing. Obviously with PCOS, the things that you talk about are a little bit taboo in some people's eyes, but my flow felt heavier. However, I didn't have pain up until about a day into my periods, which usually I've got it
A week
before, days before, whatever. I always know it's coming, whereas with that I didn't know. And also at the start it was really, really light, and then as I went on to the days it did get heavier, and then the pain did come, but I noticed that it was different. So I think whatever was happening was adjusting my body to, I don't know, the hormones obviously were balancing themselves. And my hair, I don't know if you probably don't remember my picture because you see millions of them, but my hair was about here and then it just grew, and it was so much shinier as well. With my PCOS, I've got quite a bit of hormonal imbalance, so I do grow facial hair as well and stuff. Slowed down so much, loads, and I've got quite a few health issues, so it's difficult to compare myself to an average Joe. But my back pains, I told you as well, I was worried a lot about this because I did work out with Yaz before Six Pack Revolution, and we used to go every other day, and we did work out quite a lot, and my back was so bad. I couldn't walk, I couldn't get out of the car, I'd just get stuck with my sciatica, so I was really, really worried. But you guys were able to kind of amend my exercises and everything else, and I just felt better. I felt so much better. I did have flare-ups, and I'm not going to say it completely cured anything, but I do think that if I was to continue it, it would continue to get better. I don't know if it'd ever cure it, but even my dad, I don't know if you remember, because like I say, you speak to a lot of people every day, but you called me once because I was worried about my dad's diabetes if he was to join the Six Pack Revolution. And you said, just do it, and if he feels like he's unwell or whatever, just to have some fresh orange juice or whatever. And he did do it for about 2-3 weeks because he's not got very good patience. And his sugars went from 20 to 7 in like a few days. So his sugar straight away, from somewhere where you could go into a coma because he was really bad, it was really, really bad, to somewhere that normal people have. Yeah. So it almost put him into remission in a couple of days.
Yeah, this is why we call it the magic of the Six Pack Revolution, right? Because I'm actually a professional magician, believe it or not. And,
are you actually?
Yeah. I had a TV show on ITV back in 2002. I think 2002. God, I can't remember.
Wait, what? Maybe you should show us a magic trick as well.
And what happened, the reason that I started to call it the magic of the Six Pack Revolution, because people were saying, like when I was doing my magic in a corporate event or, I was close-up magic, people would say to me, how did that happen? Yeah. Like that, and people say that on the program. What, my dad's diabetes just like literally didn't reverse itself, brought him back to normal levels in 3 days. How? And that, because people say that to me a lot, it reminds me of when I used to be walking around doing magic, and they would go, oh, So it's quite a thing. That's why we call it the magic of the Six Pack Revolution. It's
amazing, yeah. And with everything that we've learned through it, we constantly say, like, my mum's just had her gallbladder out, and she was really scared, so she said, I'm going to eat in the style of Six Pack Revolution whilst I get better, because she needs a high fibre, clean diet, obviously no fat. I don't know if you know much about, but you probably do. So it's not become like a constant part of our lives, but it's become a huge part of our lives.
This is that key I told you about, right?
Yeah.
So I give you the key. Whether you use it all the time or not is your call, isn't it?
Yeah.
But now you've got it there. So you know that if you're ever not well, you know how to pull yourself back. If you're ever feeling sluggish and ill because you've overeaten again and you're not looking at your body, you've got to remember, you know, we've only got one place to live, right? And this is it. So you should really try and look after it to somewhat. So that's why I created the still party twice a week. Now, if you need to party more than twice a week, that's probably another podcast we need to create.
I'm not drinking or anything like that, really. I'm pretty good at that. So the only
well, all your magnums and your
that's
where else, I can't remember what else it was now, but
chocolate bars.
yeah. So you know, if you can try and, you know, save that stuff for the weekend. For example, it don't have to be the weekend. It could be a Monday and a Wednesday, whatever.
Those 2 of the days.
I'll be a week.
Yeah, and then also, you know, if you've got that to look forward to, then you can say, well, don't know, I can have it in a couple of days. Like, don't make if you keep making a big deal out of everything, making it like into a mountain instead of a molehill, you find that it's much harder to get over. And always remember, what did I feel like last time I had that Magnum? I actually felt this. Did it actually give me what I think it's going to give me? No. How did I feel when I was eating how the human body should be fed? Amazing.
Yeah.
You know? And then you can kind of talk yourself round.
So the thing that I find difficult to comprehend, not difficult, just a little bit confusing, I guess, is like in day-to-day life, if I'm 100% following the six-pack revolution, I don't necessarily have to make your meals that you've done, because you can make your own and everything else. But say like healthier versions of things that are like already in the shops, like an Actimel, for example. Obviously that's got milk in it, and that was kind of like in a way forbidden on the six-pack.
The problem with an Actimel is it's got 11 grams of sugar in it.
Okay, so that was I don't really drink them, but that was a bad example. But like, I don't really know what to compare.
It says it's got probiotics in it, don't mean it's healthy.
Yeah. So what's your opinion about prebiotics and probiotics and stuff like that?
Yeah, very important. Like, so pre and probiotics, like the probiotic is your, if you imagine your tummy is your factory.
Yeah.
And if you think about it, every cell in your body is fed by what you put in your mouth, goes through your digestive system and into every cell in your body. Yeah. That's the only way, unless you're on a drip. But other than that, if you're so what you eat affects your brain to your toes, right? You know, so these are so it goes through your digestive system. So if you imagine that's your factory, and your factory workers are your to have a good gut microbiome, you want them to be happy, and that's your probiotic. The prebiotic is the fiber that they feed on. So you want a good pre and probiotic, but you can get an unflavored capsule for that, you know. Unless you've got a real issue with your system, you only want, you know, anything between sort of 5 and 10 billion CFU, which is your colony units. You can get a 50 billion, for example, but that's more of a shock if you've got something maybe that's a bit more serious that needs help. You don't really need to be going, you can overdo these things. So yeah, I wouldn't be eating drinking sugary yogurts.
But like,
to get that.
Yeah, I don't know what to kind of compare it to, because my mind did go blank a little bit. But what I'm trying to say is stuff that isn't necessarily allowed on the six-pack, but it is still classed as, I guess, healthy-ish. So like no added sugar muesli, for example, that is already in the packaging, rather than making my own version, or anything like that is just...
Or oat bars that you haven't made yourself.
But I guess it depends on... Huel
smoothies
are not good.
I can't answer that question unless I saw the item, right?
Yeah.
But like, for example, the Sculpt bars, have you had them yet?
Yeah. I still have them now.
Well, they're worth gold dust at the moment because we're out of stock, so you could probably sell and make a lot of money out of them.
I've got one left.
There's 4 ingredients.
Yeah.
So that's a healthy snack. It's just 2 dates, 14 almonds, some cacao powder, and some egg protein. So the healthiest 15-gram protein bar on the planet, the Sculpt Bar. Now, I've got a new flavour coming as well soon.
Oh, nice.
So, I mean, I could let you in for your podcast, let you in on the secret if you like.
Yeah.
So, the new flavour is chocolate orange.
Oh, getting a bit of Terry's in there.
Yeah, I love chocolate orange. It is actually.
And Kieran's probably never tried Sculpt Bars before, or anything that anything I've created, but I always work very much so on the flavour as well as the healthy side of it.
Yeah, I only let her try a little tiny bit because obviously that was my snack. But you liked it, didn't you? You thought it was nice.
It's really nice.
Yeah, the chocolate almond caramel is like wow for me. I mean, I love them all, but although the chocolate orange one's coming out, and I've only had a sample, so I need to actually give it a good go. So that would be something, for example, that I know you can't get much healthy. It's probably healthier than most things that aren't even processed. Like lots of stuff that isn't processed won't even be anywhere near as healthy as that. And so on and so on. But you will find even the or the low sugar muesli, there's usually some sugar in it, but it depends where that sugar comes from. So it's pretty hard
to say what, because a lot of the things aren't what they seem like. Obviously, there is quite a bit of false advertising on some of these different things. So it is better.
Well, like for example, you've got a grenade bar, right? Yeah. A grenade bar is a protein bar, and it says 1 gram of sugar. Now that sounds wow, that's not bad. 1 gram of sugar. But then underneath it says 17 grams of polyphenols. Now, polyphenols are the alcoholic sweeteners like maltodextrin and aspartame and xylitol. Like 17 grams of the stuff. It's like it's worse.
They say that's worse than sugar.
People don't know what a polyphenol is, so they'll be like, oh, that doesn't matter. Polynol is they don't know. So that's how they trick you.
Yeah.
So that's like the last thing I'd be putting in my body.
Yeah.
And so whereas on the six pack has got the Sculpt Bar's got 21 grams or 20 grams of sugar, but that's from 2 dates.
Yeah.
1 date contains about 2 grams of natural sugar. So it's a low glycemic index, amazing for diabetics, slow release energy, amazing for triathletes and Ironmen and ultra Ironmen as well.
I was going to ask whether dates are okay for diabetics, because I've been making date Nutella with just some coconut oil dates and some cacao powder since.
Like
okay.
Where's the nutty part of Nutella?
Well, you can put hazelnuts in there. But I didn't make it Nutella. I just made it as chocolate spread. But yes, so it kind of inspired me through Six Pack, because I saw on the Sculpt Bar.
Is literally the best thing for diabetics.
Okay, that's really good to know, because I tasted it just sweet. Can my dad have this? But I'm guessing so. But that's good to know.
What did it taste like?
Chocolate, like fruity chocolate spread. It was really nice.
Cacao powder or cocoa powder?
Cacao.
So
cocoa powder is as healthy as cacao powder.
Tell me how many dates?
I bought 1 pack and I put all of them in there. Okay. So I don't think there's 6.
Yeah, I know them. And how much cacao?
I think it was only 1. What's the spoon called? The big spoon.
Tablespoon?
Yeah. Yeah, 1 tablespoon.
And how much coconut oil?
1 teaspoon. Big one though. But yeah,
okay.
Big 1 teaspoon.
And how do you put it together? Like blend it in something?
Blend it, yeah.
So it's all just raw. You don't heat it or anything. You just blend it all together.
Yeah.
It makes a chocolate spread. I'll see what that comes out like. I'll give that.
Yeah, you should make some for your 6 pack revolution.
It's not bad. I might have it on cheap. I might have it on the 2 party days.
Okay, so it's not that healthy then.
That's a lot of sugar. Think about if you're.
I didn't eat it all in one go. This was like spread, so you take a little bit and you have some on the round.
Yeah, you believe that you're in as well, right?
Sorry, I didn't get that. What was that?
He said, "Do you believe that as well, Kieran?" I was like, "Wow."
Yeah.
So if you were, like part of a family, could you put, say, the Sculpt Bars in a kid's lunchbox, say, to school? And is there a way, like, say sorry, my voice has just gone. Say there's a family of 5. There's a mum, a dad. Not trying to be sexist, or I'm not going down that road of, But
I am a family of 5 with 3 kids.
Perfect. So
I've got a 3-year-old, an 11-year-old, and a 14-year-old.
That's really nice, and that's just literally the sort of age groups I was going to ask you about. So I don't know if you or your wife are the main cook in the house, but how do you sort of, instead of having loads of separate meals, how can you make one meal and just make sure that the portion's right? Because I know that there's like you measure the protein in your palm or something, I think you said, John.
Yeah, does that transfer to kids and that as well? Like, how does
me, my wife, and my daughter eat pretty much the same.
Yeah.
My 11-year-old son, who's 11 tomorrow, he won't touch a vegetable. I bribed him to eat a pea, and he threw his dinner up all over his plate.
Okay.
So the only way he eats olives, which is weird, isn't it?
And it's an acquired taste.
we put veggies into things like spaghetti bolognese and stuff like that. So we try and get stuff into it. But he's a bit beige, my son, and apart from starving him to death, we do our best to try and get him to eat as best we can. But it's not great, if I'm honest. And then obviously we've got the little man who's only 3. So he just picks at stuff and off the plate, and he used to eat loads of broccoli. Now he don't like broccoli all of a sudden. Now he's like hard work, and then but then now he just wants to eat eggs all the time. Kids are like. So the 2 boys, we kind of do their own thing, which most people would do a different meal for a 3-year-old than they would an adult anyway. So that's quite normal in any family, I think. But unless you're lucky enough that you've got a child that will just eat everything you throw in front of them. But my daughter eats everything, so us 3 eat very similar. Yeah.
Awesome.
If she wants an extra piece of chicken, then it's fine. I'm not fussed. I'm not fussed. But it's very easy. So we still all eat together. I mean, it's not a weird thing. It's quite normal, And the difference it makes you as a person, just your general persona, your happiness, and whatever else, it's worth it,
Yeah.
And usually the family gets on board anyway, because they see how happy and alive the partner is. I want some of that.
With me, my parents were like, at first they were like, nah, we won't be doing that. Like, if you come over and eat your food, we might try it. But as soon as they saw how many different variety of foods I was eating and how tasty, because they have a taste, how tasty it was, they were like, yeah, we'll cook this as well. We'll help you cook, and then we'll have some ourselves. And I was like, do you know what? If you're going to help me cook, you do whatever you want. Yes, please. And that's when they joined.
Have you got the new book?
Sorry?
Have you got the new book?
I have. It's just one book you've got, right? Because you say the new book.
I self-published one years ago, so some people know about that one. But it's the one with the green writing on the
book. To a six-pack.
Yes, I've got it. Yeah, I've got it as well. Yeah. So.
I thought your parents might find that useful.
Yeah, they have it at home, to be honest.
A
lot, yeah.
Yeah, because it's got the exercises towards the end of the book as well, hasn't it? Yeah, that's fun.
So, Kieran, have you got any questions? Because you were really interested in this.
Actually do. Let me just remember your password again.
And mention yourself as well, because you are vegan and you've got belly issues.
So I can
mainly... Oh my God, not a bloody vegan.
Yeah,
It's
well,
not for the animals.
no, it's
strangely.
got nothing to do with the animals. It's just for myself. It's
Animals eat animals.
Yeah. Well, I'd eat an animal. I'd eat an ostrich because I've never tried an ostrich before. I tried kangaroo or something. It's just things I've never tried. The funny thing is, like, even though I may eat vegan, I still make chicken nuggets and chips and everything for my daughter and everything. It doesn't really bother me.
You're not really vegan then.
Just for myself, I'll kill another animal, but for other people. But yeah.
Why are you vegan out of interest?
I just wanted to just try something, a clean diet which I could control, because I've got IBS and it was too overwhelming for me to concentrate on what I can and can't eat. So I just thought if I just pick this certain diet, because I can't have like gluten, I think, even though like it's probably like I don't even know 100%, but like when I have like gluten, I get really bad at like swallowing my stomach.
There's basically no gluten on the six-pack revolution anyway, give or take. You know, there might be wholemeal wraps. You just change it for a gluten-free wrap and stuff like that.
Well,
Like
I just
onions.
The only reason I asked, there's nothing wrong with being vegan. The only reason I asked was because you said, but you still have the chicken nuggets of your daughters or something.
No, I made that for my daughter. I made chicken.
Oh, I make it, right? I thought you said you eat it. That's why you're not vegan, then.
No, but he did.
Right.
I asked him to try a chip recently, and he picked up a piece of chicken and ate that and said, "This is chicken." I said, "Yeah, I told you to chip, not the chicken." But
I was like, "This is really nice." I was like, "Oh."
The problem with Kieran is.
So what's the question? What's the question about vegan?
So basically, a lot of the foods that we'd have on the six-pack revolution, he can't have because they make him ill, and they make him really ill. And the only thing that he eats, which isn't good, is a load of corn for his protein. And
then time the chip.
I have corn mince. I'll take it from my food. Tofu. Corn ham sandwich. Then for lunch, it's tofu pasta passata. And then for me tea, it's corn mince.
And that's every day, pretty much. Every day.
So corn is fine. But you don't want the corn ham or the corn bacon, because all these things aren't very healthy at all. In fact, vegan, I did 3 videos called Vegan Isn't Healthy.
Yeah.
And it was a bit of a play. Well, it wasn't a play, because what I was trying to say is that just because it says vegan on the packet doesn't mean it's healthy, because a lot of people think it is, and it's not. In fact, it's worse. So, for example, a vegan Greggs sausage roll is probably less healthy than a normal sausage roll from Greggs.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because to try and make it taste like sausage or ham or whatever it is, there's so much fat and salt and fake crap in there that it's worse for you. So you need to know how to be vegan if you want to be vegan, which we do on the program, because I've got vegan part of the you can be vegan on the program, and there's a vegan meal plan as well. But the great thing is every single recipe that we've ever done, you can make vegan. So, for example, if you don't like turkey, switch it for tofu.
Yeah.
If you don't want the chicken madras, have a corn madras. You know. So there's not one recipe you can't have. You just switch. It's called our like for like rule. So even if you're intolerant to something, let's say you're intolerant to pineapple in the pineapple pancakes, take out the pineapple. You can replace it with any other fruit in the world.
Yeah.
Same with vegetables. The only thing you can't replace for any other in the world is the protein side. So we don't have duck, beef, pork, or lamb. Just give our tummy a rest from that stuff for the short time that we do. I mean, I love a tomahawk steak, like, literally, I love it. But if I'm on the program, I'm giving my body a rest from that for now. So yeah, you can do the program vegan as well. We have huge success with IBS. But you do kind of need to know how to be vegan, really.
Yeah.
You know, because it can be quite unhealthy. You know, you don't get any B12. You need to probably, do you supplement with B12?
No, I just have those meals and that's it, really. That's what I've been doing for the past
So your B, and it's quite serious, so be careful. Your B12 is like, because you can only get B12 from animals. So you're quite likely could be very low on your B12, which can be a big problem if you
fortified cereals and stuff though as well, can't you? I think it's something that's...
Well, I don't know what you're eating, but
yeah.
What so I can't comment on what you're getting, but if you're saying you're literally living on corn and tofu with some wherever you have it, and that corn is flipping ham, then you are really malnourishing yourself.
Yeah. What would you
So-
think about supplements and stuff like that then? Like what's your perspective on it, really?
Well, it depends on the supplement. So you can go into Holland and Barrett, read the back of all the packets, and you walk out of all of them because they will tell you you're going to turn into a superhero.
Yeah.
No, but you can really overdo supplements. So you can have way too much and cause yourself damage. But there's no, what's the word? No guidance on that. When you walk in those shops, you can buy what you like.
Yeah.
But yeah, I would recommend you get B12.
Okay.
And probably, because you sound like you're not eating a lot of variety or anything, you might want to get yourself a good multivitamin and a good omega-3.
Yeah. And what's your perspective on like creatine and all that sort of stuff and BCAAs and what have you?
Okay, so if you're going to have like a post-workout protein shake, like what I provide, there's protein and branched chain amino acids, which is what BCAA stands for.
Yeah.
If anyone's watching and don't know, and yeah, they're obviously super important. Now, creatine, if you eat properly, you don't need the creatine because there's plenty of creatine in your food.
Yeah.
So if you come on the 6 Pack Revolution, I wouldn't want you to have creatine because there's no need for it. You've got enough in the food. Yeah. But if you're going to the gym and you want to try and, increase your creatine and you're not eating the things that do that, then I would say it's fine to add that. Same with collagen. If you're eating properly on 6 Pack, don't have collagen because you don't want to overdo collagen either. Because if you overdo collagen, it can do the opposite and give you thick skin, like more leathery type. It's a bit of exaggeration. So if you're eating on 6 Pack, you're getting plenty of collagen already for your body. Hence why your skin yarn and your hair and all this was doing very well because it's all in the food. Yeah, and that's obviously the best way to get it. The natural way.
Okay, so with my food at the moment, I'm like weighing everything because I had a PT before, and I just said this is the stuff I eat, put it through like that, and then he advised multivitamins and all that sort of stuff. It was overwhelming, so I just simplified it with the food, and thanks for telling me like what I'm missing. But with when I'm doing food, it's weighing, and you do by hand. How come you've chosen the hand method and not by weight? What's the reason for that?
Because what I wanted, the program's very psychological as well as physical and nutritional.
Yeah.
So I want people to stop being held to ransom by numbers.
Okay.
So we don't weigh ourselves. We don't weigh the food. Because if you think about it, so many people, if not all of them, live their lives, especially ladies, on the scales. And if they wake up in the morning and the scales tell them it's in the right direction, they're having a good day. If they wake up in the morning and it says that it's in the wrong direction, they're having a bad day.
Yeah.
However, if you was to put on, in fact, let me ask you this maths equation here, Kieran, right? See if you get your maths is, right?
Okay.
If you put on 3 pounds of muscle, and you lost 2 pounds of fat, what happened on the scales?
It's gone.
You've gained a pound.
Yeah.
Gained a pound.
You've gained a pound.
So yeah, yes, a new maths person there. Yeah.
Usually, most of you would be unhappy with that, right?
Yeah.
Now, you gained 3 pounds of muscle and you lost 2 pounds of fat, you'd be unhappy. However, what the next equation? If you lost 3 pounds of muscle and you gained 2 pounds of fat, what happened on the scales?
You've lost a pound.
And you
Yeah. So looking
you
at
just lost muscle and gained fat. You're happy with it, right?
Yeah.
So I want people and think about it. What's most people, the thing that come to my program, what's the one thing they don't want more of? Most people. We got some Olympians and athletes and stuff there, or skinny people that want to put on weight, but let's do the majority. Most people don't want more of is weight.
Yeah.
What's the one thing they spend their life giving all their energy and focus to?
a diet.
And weight.
Weight.
Numbers.
All right. Get on the scales every day. It's weight. Oh no, I put on a pound. So I don't want people to focus on what they don't want. I want people to focus on what they do want. So the dress size, the happy head, the clear skin, the shiny hair, the good sleep, the flat tummy, the abdominals, the biceps, the pecs. Stop focusing on the one thing you don't want more of. Start focusing on what you do want. And when the mind and body works together in unison, it's so much faster.
Yeah.
Everything works quicker that way, because you're not constantly, you know, driving yourself mad and like miserable and up and down, and your flipping stress levels are up and down, and you're having a bad day just because it says you put on a pound. That might have been a pound of muscle. You had the right result.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So when you wake up in the morning, what is your day like? What is your mindset when you wake
Right
up?
to water straight away, don't you?
How is it?
Yeah. It's like, what's my mindset? Oh God, flipping it. Where shall I start on the 1,000 things I have to do today?
not your worries and problems, just you know, health wise. Yeah, like, you know, because sometimes when you see these Instagram reels and people are trying to, I don't know if the PTs or just influencers, like, oh, I'll get up in the morning, I'll start my day with a coffee, then I'll go to the gym and I'll do a workout for an hour, then I'll go into the office and I'll do this, then I'll go for a run on my dinner break. What's your version?
Right, so I get up in the morning, I have some water, I'll have either a coffee or tea. If I'm shredding for a photo shoot, I'll get rid of the coffee and I'll have tea. I will then go to the gym. Oh, sorry, I have my overnight oats, but I don't have them overnight. I have them straight out of the pack with unsweetened almond milk, because I like the crunch and the chewy banana and stuff. Then I'll go to the gym. By then, I've probably done at least a litre of water by then. I will train hard. I will then have a post-workout shake. I'll come home. I'll probably have about 11 o'clock, maybe a snack, like I might have some eggs with some avocado and some other bits. Depends on what I'm doing, if I can be bothered, if I've got time. Or I might have a Sculpt Bar. Usually save my Sculpt Bar for the last thing of the day. It's my final cup of tea at night. Really look forward to it. And have my Sculpt Bar. Just wish I could eat another 3 or 4 of them. But stick to the one. In fact, me and my wife, we have the 2 flavours and we break them in half. We have half each. So we do have one, but
We used to
get to have both flavours. Always make sure I break off a slightly bigger piece than I give to her. And then I'll have, you know, whatever my wife's cooking throughout the day. I'll have or maybe there'll be something left over from the night before, which I'll have as my other meal. And then, yeah, you know, it's great because I just eat all day.
Yeah.
And it's nice, tasty, delicious stuff. I don't feel like I'm missing out, because I know at the weekend, if I want to go bonkers and stuff myself silly, I will.
Yeah.
That's kind of my day, really. And I do that pretty much every day for the week. And it keeps me at 50 years of age, you know, pretty fit. I'm fitter than most people half my age, probably.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I don't think I'm probably look 50 yet, and
No.
I'm proud of myself. Or, you know, I feel like if I'm meeting my daughter's friends' parents, I look in shape. I look like I look after myself. You know, I've got it together. You know, I'm not like, well, can't, you know. So,
Yeah.
and then my kids are proud of me as well. You know,
Yeah.
it's my dad type thing. You know, so it's all good. That's my day and the way I live, and I still party twice a week if I want, which is, as I said, the best of both worlds, if you ask me. It's called having your cake and eating it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can I ask, Scott, did you
Anyone
have
can do that. Anyone can do that.
100%? I do believe that. Because like I say, I had loads of like brain issues before I started the 6-pack, and I smashed it, and it wasn't hard to me. It wasn't hard. It was challenging, but it wasn't hard. But anyway, I do have a question for you. Did you have any health issues before you started doing the, 6-pack revolution or Scotty's hot, whatever you called it?
Not too hot 90-day 6-pack challenge. I suffered quite badly with anxiety. and I was bulimic severely for over 30 years.
Wow, I actually wanted to ask you, what's your take on, if someone who has had an eating disorder in the past wanted to do this, what would your advice be? But that's quite interesting that you had one yourself.
It's life-changing. It's the only time I stopped making myself sick.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I used to try and throw up every meal I had. I would go in on holiday in the buffet, eat, be sick, eat, be sick, eat, be sick. My wife knew I was doing it. She could see my eyes were all watering when I come out the toilet. But it's an embarrassing thing to bring up. Yeah, it's been life-changing, really. I never feel that way. Now I'm doing the program, and because you feel good, you don't feel sick, you don't feel like you're poisoning yourself, you don't feel like you want to get it out of you, because you don't feel bloated, you don't feel that feeling or where it gets stuck in your chest, you just want to release it. And so it's been a big help for me. And I still get some anxiety when I drink. That's probably when it hits me the most. I don't know whether that's because I cleaned up my act, and therefore, and by the way, I only sorted this out when I was 42. Them photos you saw, I've not been ripped since my teens or anything. I'm not a PT only since I've done this job to really have some credibility for the job I was doing.
Yeah.
And it's saved me really on that side of things, and has done a lot of people.
What about for people that have struggled with like their body image and stuff like that? Because obviously you're having to take pictures of yourself, and you're having to measure all your foods in certain ways. But obviously that could affect somebody that's always been really strict about themselves and is scared to take a picture of themselves and stuff like that. Would they just contact you and you'd work with them kind of separately?
Yeah, as you said, I spoke to you. If anyone's got any issues or struggling or need help, whatever it might be, whether it's about photos or their dad or whatever, I will speak to you personally, and I will do my best to help you. And obviously, I've also got a psychology diploma as well, so I love that side of my job, and I love the challenge of trying to pull someone's head out of their backside, or trying to lift them up and put them back on track, or trying to just stop them again, focusing on what they don't want and overcoming the obstacles, and obviously not allowing things to hold them back. And don't become your own obstacle. There's gonna be many obstacles in life. One thing I always tell everyone is, don't you be one of them. And hopefully get them to step outside of their comfort zone and convince them to do it. Usually once you've taken the step, the fear's disappeared. Have you ever seen Will Smith's Fear?
Yeah, with his son. Yeah, where he goes on that planet. Yeah.
No.
I was thinking of
That's a film. No, he did a little
he did a film called Fear.
No, that's it. I know what you're thinking of, but it wasn't called Fear. You're talking about the documentary, aren't you, where he lost loads of weight in like a really short amount of time? Oh, right.
No. So he got interviewed. If you type into YouTube Will Smith Fear, he got interviewed by someone, and he was saying about how him and his mates were out drinking one night, and this is so true. His delivery is much better than mine because it's his story, of course, and he's very animated, Will Smith. But they all stupidly said, all shook on that they were going to go the next morning and do a skydive, and so they're all drunk and they all fell asleep, woke up in the morning and realised they'd all shook on it, and like this had been booked now, or they booked it at the moment, and all this sort of stuff. And the fear was there, and the fear was there all the time, whilst there was no need to be afraid because they were on the ground. And the moment they actually leapt out of the plane was when the fear disappeared, when they're at their most vulnerable.
Yeah.
So if you think about that on all the things you've done in life, like if you've ever gone up on stage or something, I was at an event on Wednesday and last week, and the nerves hit you when you're actually not up on the stage. The minute you're up there, the nerves disappear. The fear disappears. So I try and get people to, once they step, there's an old saying, everything you ever wanted is on the other side of fear. So once you step over that line, it's not scared, it's gone now, isn't it? It's behind you. And you don't want to trip over things that are behind you, because you're not going that way, are you? You should be going forward, right? So you find that once you can convince someone to maybe take that photo, once it's taken now, isn't it? So what?
Yeah, sometimes I think it takes more effort to think about something than to just do it. Yeah.
When I was 23, I went through a really horrible breakup, and I started working on myself quite a lot, and that's when I found the secret and law of attraction and everything else. And I did have a mini spiritual awakening, and I do live my life by, you can't live a positive life with a negative mind, and also try not to worry about the things that are out of your control, because you're just going to drive yourself crazy. But what I do find difficult, and maybe you can advise me on that, is kind of upkeeping that all the time, because it does take over, doesn't it? Anxiety and fear, and there are things that are your triggers and that you will kind of just dwell on. Like when my mum went for the surgery, for example, with her gallbladder, she was really unwell, and she had pancreatitis, and she went yellow. She had jaundice as well, because they just kind of didn't do much with it. And my brain just went, she's going to die. And I just obsessed over that, and I was just panicked the whole entire time. And in the back of my head, I kept trying to tell myself, it's going to be okay. She's going to be fine. Stop worrying about the things that are out of your control. Like you're making something out of nothing. It's not here. Like it doesn't exist. Why do you think it's happened already? But I just couldn't control that. So what do you do then? Like when you have spent
the mind's the mind's a very powerful thing, right?
Yeah.
But it's just as powerful on the positive as it is on the negative. So, and it actually doesn't really know the difference, in the sense of you're making that happen. You're creating those thoughts, right? So let me ask you a question. We could ask all of you this, actually.
Yeah.
How many of the things in your life, in fact, how old are you, Jana?
I'm 27 recently.
So, would you call yourself a warrior?
Not massively, no. I'm pretty chilled. I used to be. I have complex PTSD.
And what about you, Yaz?
I can be, yeah. I would say I worry mainly about, financial things, keeping up a house, looking after, making sure I've got the money in the pot to take care of my pets, making sure I'm on track with my job. So those are the sort of things that I tend to worry about. Would say that I'm a really chilled person, but I know that I have my own, worries and struggles in my mind that I might not be vocal about, but I am.
How old are you?
28.
And what about you, Kieran? Are you a warrior?
Yeah, but I did this thing ages ago with myself, where it's like, wherever I'm anxious, I just be excited about it instead. That's what I try to do for myself.
Try to rewire your brain.
Yeah. So I get anxious all the time.
How old are you?
All the time. 28 as well.
28. Right. So all of you, think about that, right? For the last, let's hope you weren't worrying at the ages of 7 and 8. Or whatever. I can't remember how old you told me you were, yes, but let's just say. How many so for the last 20 years, how many of the things that you've worried about, tossed and turned about, you haven't ate properly, you haven't slept properly, butterflies in your tummy, how many of those things have come true to the extent that you were worrying when they happened?
Not many.
I can give you the answer, but
pretty much none of them. We always think the worst, isn't it?
Big fat zero, right? Now, I'm not saying that bad things don't happen, but we amplify the problem and create the monster that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It's the monster under the bed. It doesn't exist, right? So you have got 100% success rate in getting that wrong for 20 years. That's almost 2 life sentences, because people get out in 12 and a half, right?
Yeah.
So we know for a fact that if you keep doing that, you're going to get it wrong 100% of your life.
Mm.
It's interesting.
Right? So how about we do the complete opposite of that and assume the best in every scenario? Assume that the world is rigged in our favor. Assume that everything is there just to teach us a lesson that we're going to become more strong, powerful, resilient, and knowledgeable about, and so on and so on and so on.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's no downside to doing that. To believing in yourself, assuming the best, living your life full of positivity. There's no downside in doing that.
Yeah.
But there is a downside in not believing in yourself, in being negative, assuming it's the world's against you, assuming the worst in every scenario. There is a downside. There's no downside to the opposite. So if you live like the world's rigged in your favor, even if something goes wrong, if you assume it's for your best, because if you think about it, a lot of things that have happened in your life that you would have thought was the end of the world, actually you might not even change now because you learned something, you've made yourself stronger. It's actually turned out to be the best thing that ever happened to you. Like losing a partner, when you get all upset about that and then you actually don't even think about them anymore.
Yeah.
And you're with someone new that you love being with and supports you and makes you feel great and so on.
Yeah. What my kind of question is I completely agree with everything that you've just said, because that's what I've tried to learn when I was looking into the law of attraction and everything else. That's pretty much everything that it's taught me. But whilst it's changed my life completely, and I feel like I've manifested and been able to achieve so many things since I started doing that, also felt like there were times where I could be leaning almost into toxic positivity because I wasn't allowing myself to be sad or to worry about anything, and then it became kind of too much for me because there were things that were happening and I was just trying to think everything's okay, I'm happy, I'm gonna be good, this is working out for my highest good and all is well, and all these different things, mantras that I've created to try and keep myself on track. And it did become, I felt like I need to find a balance to allow myself to also sometimes, I don't know. Do you get where I'm coming? Do you get what I'm trying to say?
I do. This is where a lot of people don't like The Secret, because they come up with this word, this two words in the same sentence that don't make sense. They call negative positivity or toxic positivity, like you said. If you think about that, that sounds a bit weird, doesn't it? Because how can being positive be bad? And I still agree. I still don't agree. I don't agree that positivity is toxic. It's the negative part of your brain that's playing that game with you, isn't it? It's not the positive part of your brain. Yeah. And look, there's nothing wrong in dipping out of your positive mindset. That's normal, right? Because we all do that. But the trick is to get back into the positive mindset as soon as you can. And I'm going to give you a few examples. Okay. First of all, if I explain to your listeners, basically, because a lot of people won't know what The Secret is or what the law of attraction is, and it doesn't have to be The Secret. The Secret really helped me. And the reason I like The Secret is because it is, in my eyes, a bit idiot-proof. It's very simple to understand. I've read a lot of other books as well that were much more complicated, and I love some of the other books as well. So, but there'll be a lot of people actually that watch this back that might hate The Secret. And I think that's the wrong thing to do. Anything that can help someone is fine. And if you turn around and say, well, because it basically, let me explain how I interpret The Secret, okay, or the law of attraction. That's called The Secret. There's something in our brains called the reticular activating system. Have you ever heard of it, you three?
No.
No. Has it got something to do with the pineal gland or no?
Right. So then I'll explain.
Okay.
I really explain the simple version, right? So all day long, we have billions of pieces of information that come through our senses, but we couldn't possibly absorb or process even a fraction of it because it's too much. So our reticular activating system filters out all the things that we're not focused on or giving our energy to or even interested in. So I'll give you an example. I'm making this up, by the way. So if you were in a supermarket with a full trolley, and you know those trolleys have a mind of their own, and someone's walking in front of you in the car park who's having a bad day already, and you clip their ankle, and that person turns around in your face like nutter, right?
Yeah.
You go into your fight or flight mode. Nothing else you're paying attention to. You won't know what's going on over there or over there. You are focused on this situation because there's nothing else to focus on. That's a bit extreme. Let's go to something that all of you must have done. And don't say you have if you haven't. But have any of you gone and bought a car, for example? Let's call it a blue Mini. Yeah. And then all of a sudden, everywhere you drive, there's blue Minis everywhere. Have you ever done that?
When you're spotting.
Yeah, with my Audis, I did used to have a pink Fiat 500, so I didn't spot them out, but you do notice them more, yeah, because I'd never noticed them before, but then you start noticing them.
Right? Now, they were always there.
Yeah.
They appear just because you bought one. They were always in front of your face, driving next to you on the road, but you didn't see them because your reticular activating system filtered them out because you weren't interested in it. The minute you bought one, now you're interested in a Fiat 500. They're everywhere. Yeah. You all been through that type of thing?
Yeah.
Other than buying the car, yeah.
I've had
car,
like 5 cars in the space of a year, and I started seeing all of them everywhere. And now I've got a white Astra, and I see a white Astra all the time, and I'm thinking they don't have black windows.
Yeah.
So that's kind of an experience that most people have had. If you haven't bought a car, then you won't have had it. But it's an experience that most people have had that is pretty much like, how on earth did that happen? They're everywhere. Like whole roads full of them. That's all anyone drives now. They were always there. Yeah. And that's because your reticular activating system, as I said, filters all that out. Like if me and Kieran, I mean, I'm generalizing here, by the way. This could be a complete wrong, so apologies. Walked into a supermarket with a shopping mall with you two. You girls might see the handbags and the beauty product shops, and me and Kieran might I'm not very sporty, so he might see all the football stuff and the sports kits if he's sporty, and I might see what am I into? I might see the health shops or something, right? Because and my wife might see all the baby stuff, right? I wouldn't see all that stuff. I just wouldn't. I'll be looking at the Rolexes or something, you know. So that's another way you say, oh, yeah, as it goes. The wife notices all of that stuff, and I don't even see it, you know. So it's really important that we stop focusing on what we don't want and giving our energy and be interested in all the things we don't want and thinking the world's against you, because then you're focusing. Because they're the opportunities that are going to be put in front of you, because that's what you're focused on. So you have to flip the script and shift your mind to all the things you want and not what you don't want, and then you'll see them, because all the opportunities are there for everyone.
How would you do that? Because that's what I'm trying to say. Like, I've tried to start getting back into it massively, and it's hard. Like, I keep catching myself thinking about the negative, and I'm thinking, why? Go back, and it's just so difficult.
There's lots of ways. So there's a lot of different skills that you can do. So, for example, this is one that's really effective. Really effective. How do you sleep, by the way? How's your sleep?
It's okay. I don't think I reach the deep sleep often, but I do sleep through the night most of the time nowadays. Yeah.
Before you go to bed at night, first of all, make sure you turn the phone off an hour beforehand, before you actually go to sleep. And write down 3 wins that you've had throughout the day, and 3 wins that you'd like to achieve tomorrow. Just 3. Never do 4, never do 5, don't do 10, 3. Okay? Now, you might say, what am I going to bloody think of win tomorrow? It could be something as simple as, I'm not going to have a Magnum tomorrow. Right? It could be something as simple as that. That's a win. It could be that I'm going to make this podcast with Scotty look the best podcast I've ever done. It could be I'm going to go and help my mum tomorrow, and whatever. Or I don't know what your jobs are, or I'm going to go and do this for my job, or I'm going to ring someone and that I should have rang before. Yeah, whatever it is, write down the 3 wins. And the more humans like structure, and they like routine, and they like consistency. Yeah. So, and also when you're constantly writing down your wins, then more wins come to you because your life is just full of them, right? And almost to the point of where you don't sit there have to worry about the things that you aren't doing because you're too busy doing the good things that you're doing. And then you create this habit of a winner, and it can take you a minute every night, but actually write them down, because when you write things down, they go into the subconscious. And yeah, don't start writing down more. If you think of one, save it for the next day, because if you start writing down 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you won't have any wins to do. You won't be able to think of anything, right? So just stick to 3 a day. You can have a good day the day after next as well. It doesn't have to all be tomorrow.
Yeah.
And then I think you'll find that's really successful, like quicker than you think.
It's good, yeah. Because I've been trying to get back into meditation and whatnot, and I think my brain's just been a little bit busy, so it's been really difficult, and that's how I felt like I could manage it again, if I'm able to control the thoughts and switch off. But I think I'm doing it. As long as I keep persisting, I'm doing it, but I'm going to try the...
I'm not good at sitting still, being quiet and meditating. But meditating doesn't have to be just like that. You can meditate while you're cooking. You know, you can just be focused on the cooking while you've got something good going on in your ears at the same time, your favorite music or your favorite. There's a great book, by the way, audiobook called The Gap and the Gain. I really recommend it. It's my new favorite. I just love it. And it really makes sense. And there's a lot of techniques on there as well to help you constantly focus on being. So the gap is kind of your negative head, and the gain is your positive head, like where you're fearing lack because you're in the gap, and so you've got to measure your gains. So instead of constantly focusing again on the things that haven't happened, think about at the moment. You one thing you have got 100% success rate of is life, because you're still here. So you're doing pretty well. Some people haven't got your opportunity. So you need to go. The only time I ever say for people to look back is to see how far they've come, which is a saying you've probably heard before. You only look back to see how far you've come. So if you measure yourself from where you are now to where you were maybe 5 years ago, how does that look for you? You know, and you probably find that you've done quite a lot of good things in that time, and you can measure that, and you can actually be proud of yourself for that, and be positive about it, and realize, oh, hang on a minute. So if I carry on, I'm still on this trajectory, right? I'm going this way. Don't get me wrong. There's going to be some twists and turns and backwards and forwards, but still the graph is going this way.
Yeah.
I'll give you another way of thinking about stuff as well. Have you ever? I have this thing where I say, life is like the London Underground, and again, it's one of my stories or analogies or whatever you want. But the London Underground is like an oblong with loads of hundreds of lines all over it, right?
Yeah.
You've all been on the London Underground, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's say the bottom right-hand corner is called Ryslip and the top left-hand corner is called Shoeburyness. I know it's not there. So it's just 2 names that I actually know are end of lines. I do know that, but they're not going to be there. But I could call them A and B. But let's just give them a name. Ryslip, Shoeburyness. And this is your life. And let's say you live 90 years. Good innings. I'm going to live to 150 and still look like this, by the way. But let's just say 90 years. So you start down here at Ryslip, and you get on the train. There's just you and it's the beginning of the line. So there's no one from the station before, because this is the beginning. Yeah. So your mum and dad are with you, and you're on the train. You're going through the underground, and people start to get on your train, and people will get off. And some people you'll want to sit next to and learn off and get experience from and have a chat with. And other people you want to stay at the other end of the carriage. You don't want anything to do with them whatsoever. And at some point, you're going to get off that train, and mum and dad might come with you. Some people might just stay on that train and you never see them again. Other people might get off the train later and see you on another train as you're traveling through London at another time. And this is how your life will be. And you'll have all these experiences and these people to absorb information and learn from, and so on. And then all of a sudden, everything stops. There's leaves on the line. Now, the thing with leaves on the line is just a small obstacle in life. they'll get moved very quickly, and you'll carry on your journey. And you'll do the same when you're trying to get across London, and we're heading towards your 90 years, and all of a sudden, bang, it all stops again. But this time it's much more serious. There's a signal failure this time. Now, they can take hours to deal with. So this is an obstacle that's going to take a little bit more time to get through and carry on move. But as everything in life, you still will move forward at some point, because it doesn't stop for anyone. Now, have you ever been on a London Underground where the station master says, okay, everyone, can you please disembark here? The train is now terminated.
Yeah.
Ever see that?
Yeah.
Now, the reason they say that is because actually through London, there's lots of where the track ends. There's a big wall in front, and you've got to get off, get on another train to carry on. Now, that end of line, or that train is terminated, Moses isn't going to come along and open up the walls and put down new track for you, right?
Yeah.
It's terminated. That could be a job, that could be a relationship, that could be your favorite sport because you've just lost your legs, that could be a hobby, that could be a girlfriend. Let's call it a marriage, right? It's terminated. But the problem is, as humans, we quite often will sit on that train for weeks, months, years, some people even decades, hoping something's going to change and it's going to be able to move forward with where you are. But it's terminated. The wall's in the way. It's going nowhere, right?
Yeah.
And we sit there hoping it's going to change when we know it's not going to change. The relationship's done. It's finished. So the problem with that is that all the trains are going past you on the other tracks. All those lovely people you could have met, all those in other experiences you could have had, life is going past you because you're stuck on a train that's terminated. Now, the only problem now is that you're only going to reach Elephant and Castle. Shoeburyness isn't going to happen in your 90 years. So everything from Elephant and Castle to Shoeburyness, you just missed the whole thing because you just wasted all that time on a train that's going nowhere.
Yeah.
So the moral of the story, can I swear on there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Get off the fucking train.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because you've got to get off it at some point, or you're just going to might as well jump off a cliff.
Yeah.
So the trick is to get off it, hopefully in 2 minutes rather than 20 years.
Yeah.
So when you say how do you stop yourself going into the negative side? Well, it's not so much that we all do that. It's how quick you get back to the positive. That's the win.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think you're never going to have a negative thought, and that's you better think again, because that's almost impossible to create that in your life.
Yeah.
And don't hate yourself because you have a negative thought. Just try and go right. Got to get back into the positive, or got to get from the gap to the gain, which the book will teach you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I need to get
Or what I say, get out of the hole and get onto the high. Because when you're in the hole, you can't see nothing. It's dark. How am I getting out? When you're high, you can see everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Everything's a lot clearer.
Yeah.
Awesome.
That was brilliant. I think
that's a nice way to.
I think that's a brilliant way to end it. To be fair.
Yeah. No, positive note.
Unless you've got anything else to kind of say.
Yeah. Plug anything if you want to.
Well, look, if you want to check out the Six Pack Revolution, all you need to do is go to the sixpackrevolution.com or our Instagram, Facebook, and everything else. Every social media channel is at the Six Pack Revolution. Or you can just type the Six Pack Revolution into Google and you'll find everything there anyway. The book is a Sunday Times bestseller called Eat Your Way to a Six Pack. All the rules, the recipes and everything and the exercises are all in that book as well. Other than that, if anyone joins, I look forward to seeing you all in the groups because I'm there with you all day, every day, from before you start to after you finish. Actually, myself personally in there, as Jana will vouch, along with all my team. I'm in every single group and looking after thousands of people, and we all love it and we all live it. So that just leaves me to say thank you to you three for having me.
Yeah.
Thank you
And,
for coming on.
I wish you all the love and luck in the world for the future. And if you ever want to do another podcast about something different, let me know.
Thank you so
very
much,
Yeah.
definitely. And yeah,
You're
thanks to our audience as well for watching. That is Scotty Harrison from the Six Pack Revolution, and we will also link everything in the description on our YouTube and Spotify. So yeah, thanks for joining us.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
See you. Bye.